There's two films that I like to recommend in this regard that I think show two moral exemplars. The first is a film called A Man for All Seasons, which is about St. Thomas More and his conflict with Henry VIII that eventually cost him his head. This was a case of, you could say he was a martyr for his religious beliefs, certainly. That's key to their dispute, right? But he was also a martyr in a sense for free speech because the king was trying to force him to sign an oath that he fundamentally did not believe, right? It was a case of compelled speech. And he was willing to kind of put his head down and keep quiet and not publicly contradict the king, but that wasn't good enough for the king. The king needed his signature to publicly endorse something that Thomas fundamentally did not believe. And that's what he ended up sacrificing his life for. So A Man for All Seasons is a beautiful film about his martyrdom, essentially, and his integrity. And the other more recent contemporary film that I like in this regard is called A Hidden Life. It's a Terrence Malick film, this is a director whose movies are kind of meditative and quiet. They're maybe not to everyone's taste, but in this case, I think this is his best film. It really, his approach and his style really works well for this movie. And it's about a young man named Franz Jagerstatter, was just an ordinary husband and father, had married with two daughters, Austrian man. During World War II, Nazis invade. They're conscripting Austrians into the German army. And they're going to compel him not only to fight in the German army, which he was willing to do, but in addition to that, they were going to compel him to take an oath of fidelity to Adolf Hitler. And with his moral clarity, he just saw, no, I'm willing to fight in the army, but I'm not willing to take an oath of fidelity to that man. And you see in the course of the film the pressure mounting. And, even his wife and his well-meaning but perhaps misguided parish priest and the mayor of the town and everyone, just sign the oath. Another case of compelled speech. Say something that you don't believe. Put something in writing, and you can believe whatever you want, internally, but just externally, just kind of, make this symbolic gesture, a little pinch of incense to the emperor, and then we'll leave you alone. Everything will be fine. And he refuses to do that. And there's one scene that I'm very fond of in the film, extremely powerful scene, where he's in prison and he's actually being tortured. The prison guard is beating him to a pulp, and he's on his knees, and he's been bruised and battered, and he looks up through his blackened eyes and his blood-stained face at the prison guard. The prison guard looks down at him and says, just sign it. Just sign the oath and you'll be free. And Franz looks up at him and says, but I already am